So it's been a little over 6 months that Copilot is publicly available. What do you think? Is Copilot a hype or not?
It depends on how you define a hype. Copilot still is not generating any huge amount of revenues.
Okay.
I mean, you got to think that the target market for Copilot is 400 million users. That's the Office 365 installed base.
Yeah.
How many people have Copilot today? And your answer is pretty few. So you compare the impact it has had versus all of the marketing effort that Microsoft has put around it, you got to say it's hype. On the other hand, you could say, well, is the introduction of a really revolutionary technology worthy of putting all this marketing effort around? And it might seem like hype, but it's really just communication about what it can do. And I think we're in the middle of those two states.
Okay.
Yeah, there's probably too much marketing hype, but it is an important technology and it could change the way we do things. So I'll go in the middle, say half and half.
Okay, but would you say that it is helping us, for example, today when we create a lot of different content, so Copilot help us understand this content more? Would you?
I'm not sure Copilot helps you understand too much content. I mean, it does a good job of summarizing some things. My favorite Copilot feature is summarizing Teams meetings.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's very good at that. It can summarize Word documents, and it does okay at that. It does okay at summarizing email. But I'm not sure whether I learned that much from it because I prefer myself, but it's my personal belief of going and looking at documents and reading through and finding the nuances. I think because I've been a writer and an author for so many years that I probably do a better job than Copilot does. At least I hope I do. But for other people it could be totally different. I think everybody's got to find they've got to find their own Copilot magic, if you like. Will it help people make better use of the information that they have? Possibly, provided that they take care of that information. And I think there's an awful lot of what I call digital rot.
Yeah, okay.
Inside Microsoft 365 today, old stuff that's just there, hanging around. And the horrible thing is that if search can find that digital rot, then Copilot can find it. And not only can it find it, but it can also consume it.
Yeah.
And that's the downside, I think, of Copilot.
I agree. So, for example, governance, like maybe 2 years ago, was just a keyword that was maybe somebody was interested in the governance and somebody is not. But today, when you ask Copilot something, and when Copilot can check the things where it has access, now this is really important. So I agree with you.
I mean, the thing is that we have certain tools that are available to us, like retention policies.
Exactly.
Retention policies are a bit of it's a blunt tool.
Mm-hmm.
It says, go find all documents that meet this criteria, let's say an age criteria, and remove them. And you could say, well, that'll get rid of all my digital debris, but it doesn't really, because it doesn't put any value on the documents that's removed.
Okay.
Users put value on the documents by putting retention labels on the documents, but I'm not sure that users are very good at that type of process either. So the overall conclusion I've seen, especially of OneDrive accounts, my gosh, OneDrive has just become the dumping ground of every Microsoft 365 app.
Yeah.
And you end up with this 5 terabyte collection of stuff that may or may not have been valuable at one point in the time, and then we get to a point where Copilot starts consuming it, and some of the stuff that you may not think is too good turns up in output.
Yeah.
And that's not great. That's a challenge I think large organizations face with any implementation of Copilot.
I agree.
And you see, the thing is that, coming back to the hype model, when you see all the demos, they're very beautiful. Beautiful people, beautiful screen, stages, happy people, beautiful technology, producing beautiful results. What you don't realize is the beautiful results comes from curated data. And the data that exists in people's SharePoint sites and OneDrive accounts and Exchange mailboxes out in the real world is seldom very beautiful.
I agree. That's why I like, for example, the web plugin, because if you enable that, then some facts can be checked online, and then the Copilot will combine what the knowledge that you have internally and the knowledge that it finds online.
Yeah, if it finds good stuff and it's using Bing, of course.
Yeah,
the world's best search engine.
Yeah, it is the best.
Yeah, well, you can have a debate about that. And certainly, I would say that Bing, along with any search engine, is going to suffer with its own ability to find the most relevant, the most accurate, the most useful information from the web. There's all sorts of games that people play with ranking and whatever. So if you do any sort of Bing or Google search, and you search for a topic related to anything, technology, whatever you want to search for, you're going to find stuff that's ranked in an order that you as a human being could probably go down through quite quickly and say, no, don't trust that site, no, that's old, whatever. But Copilot doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, Copilot, remember, is just a word computer. It's just taking in words and assembling words into a form that makes sense to it and putting it out in a response.
Exactly.
So sometimes it gets those words that it's going to use for its responses from very odd places.
I agree. So Copilot can be, the Copilot is like, as it can provide the answer as good as the person who is asking the Copilot. So my experience today is you need to provide really good explanation of what output would you like from the Copilot.
You need a well-written prompt.
Exactly.
You need grounding. So you give your own documents to ground the prompt. And you need to pay a lot of attention to what comes back.
Yeah.
Because odd stuff does happen. Now, if you pay attention to your prompts, you write them very precisely, as you say, you ground the prompts with good documents, you pay attention, you'll get value out of it. But if you go up to Google, to Copilot, you say, oh, this is magic. AI is magic. It will solve all problems.
I agree.
And you just put in a question. You're quite likely to get the same type of response as if you would stop somebody that you didn't know on the street and say, what did you think of X? Gosh knows what you get back from that person.
Exactly.
You might get back a great response. On the other hand, you might get back rubbish.
Exactly. So this morning you had a session on Copilot. It was called Don't Let Copilot Be Vanity Project.
A vanity project.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about your session this morning?
I mean, generally the session was all about asking people to do one thing when they're looking at Copilot. That's engaging the best organ in their body. That's their brain. Instead of listening to all the hype, instead of listening to all the marketing, start looking at what the technology can do for them in the context of their own company. And every company is different. Every company technology environment is different. Every company business is different. So when you take a generalized technology like Copilot and you try and make it work for a company, you've got to make sure that you're going to solve some business goals. You've got to make sure that you get some return on investment and all of that. And you could accept that, oh, it'll do some magic and we'll save all this time or whatever. But what I was really trying to prompt people is to think about the technology, understand the technology, understand your business, understand how you're going to use the technology within your business, and understand how you're going to get results. Just that, simple.
Yeah. What do you think about the licensing of Copilot? Is that maybe something that could hurt adoption on a wide scale? Do you think that licensing for now is okay?
Personally, I think it's too high. I understand why Microsoft has pitched it at that level. I mean, if you had spent 40 odd billion on data center build out to cope with the demand for Copilot, you'd want to get that money back. And they're looking at the 400 million Office 365 users. They'll probably be taking away at least half of that, which is the SME market, where I don't think they're going to sell that many Copilots.
Okay.
This is an enterprise play to me. They might sell one or two to each tenant in a small to medium business, but really they're into enterprises. So if they're looking at the high end of the market, 200 million, let's say, just for giggles, and they're trying to anticipate how they're going to get back that investment, they've got to pitch it at that type of level to get it back. Because they're not going to sell it to the whole 200 million, they're going to sell to a percentage.
Yeah.
If they get to 10% of that, 20 million customers, it's still only a dent in their investment. So they've got to have their price that high. Is it going to stop adoption? Well, again, they're talking to the really big customers, they're talking to the enterprise customers. Those customers have got very long agreements with Microsoft, enterprise agreements with Microsoft. Microsoft does deals.
Yeah.
So it's quite likely that we're going to see a lot of deals being done. But the thing that I would remind people about deals is a very wise comment once made by a Directions on Microsoft analyst who said, deals made by Microsoft in one licensing round always become full-priced items the next licensing round.
Okay.
Just remember that.
But on the other side, the Copilot is so resource hungry that they need a lot of hardware resources in the Azure to support all these users. So
yeah, they do.
On some side, I understand why it's priced so high at the moment. And after a couple of years, probably it will go down, but they will polish it.
Well, I think after a couple of years, what you're going to find is some of the things that are in Copilot today will become basic technology.
Yeah.
Because competition will force Microsoft to take some of the technology, some of the features that they have today. I don't know, maybe summarizing team meetings will become a base piece of the technology.
And maybe it will run on the endpoint, so it will not.
That's a good point, yeah. As PCs get more AI capable, maybe that will be possible.
Exactly. And can you tell us your thoughts on the Copilot security? So what do you recommend to the audience? What to tackle with? Is it based Microsoft? Is it what to worry about the most in terms of the Copilot security, oversharing, and similar stuff?
Oversharing. I'll say two things about oversharing. The first thing is to remember that anything Microsoft Search can find, Copilot can use.
Yeah.
The second thing is that if you remember when Delve came out in 2016,
it was the same thing.
There's a big difference. There's a huge difference. 2016, everybody got excited about oversharing when Delve hinted to people that there might be some documents they might like to see. But people had to go and open those documents. And again, because search allowed them to find those documents, they could get it. The big difference now is that Copilot consumes content.
Yeah.
So if it can find content, it can consume it, and it can output that content in documents, messages, or whatever. So oversharing is a problem. If you've been very lax with oversharing, and you basically let anybody see anything in an organization, well then congratulations, your new AI assistant is going to consume all of that information, and it's very good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I am less concerned about that than I am concerned about the inaccurate, misleading, and obsolete data that we all have in SharePoint and on OneDrive. I think that's actually a bigger problem.
Hallucinations of the Copilot?
No, not hallucinations. Just because hallucinations are caused by the AI doing something wrong.
Okay.
I'm talking about
quality of
Copilot, the quality of documents that are
okay.
Let's say you ask Copilot a question about me.
And if I have old information like 10 years old,
yes.
It doesn't know. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Copilot has no sense of whether information is accurate. It has no sense of whether information is up to date. It has no sense of whether information is is really relevant to the subject. It knows it's got a match.
Exactly.
And it does its very best. And remember, we're dealing here with a word computer, not a binary computer. So all it's doing is trying to get a string of words that is the best possible output that it can put out in the response given to the user. So if you haven't been paying attention to all of the information that's been piling up in OneDrive and SharePoint, you could get some very interesting results come back from Copilot.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we need about thinking about cleaning up our tenants. So all data needs to go to archive or somewhere or just delete it, but we need to have always up-to-date data in order to receive the good replies.
I think it's a very good idea for any large organization considering Copilot to do a spring clean.
Spring clean.
Big spring clean.
Okay.
Get rid of the old crap.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, am I allowed to say that?
Okay, thank you very much, Tony, for all the insights that you have about the Copilot. Thank you, everybody.